New faces, new hope, a new team. MLS is back for a brand new season. All 14 games from an eye-catching opening round are coming your way, including the new boys against the originals, as Charlotte FC were at DC for their debut. But it's with the defending champions New York City FC where we begin our review of Week 1.
Cullens, can he seal the deal for New York City? It's an Empire state of mind, all right. New York City FC win MLS Cup 2021.
See that?
A first star for NYCFC, who opened against a Galaxy full of stars.
The ball in for Chicha. Score!
Yes, that's a Golazos!
With a new superstar on show. Commentary comes from David Prasson and Phil Blacker.
NYCFC look to try and assert themselves. A touch for Tavon Gray to Maxi Morales, who's able to deliver the cross. Talas Magno on the end of it, and Jonathan Bond is behind it.
Really well constructed, wasn't it? New York City FC, known for the intricacies in and around the 18-yard box, just standing the ball up nicely to Talas Magno on the edge of the 6-yard box.
In towards Koulibaly up from centre-back. Cleared as far as Vasquez. And another go here, and Johnson had a bit more to do with that one. He was in the right place to make the save. Douglas Costa, there's twice already that his chances are.
He's really enjoying himself, isn't he, down the right-hand side, cutting back in on that wonderful left foot.
One end of the field to the other very swiftly there. Cabral's effort beaten away by Sean Johnson. Cristianos the target here, did get his head to it, snakes just wide. Was trying to stay onside as that was played in towards him, and very nearly made something of it.
Really tough chance though, wasn't it, Castellanos, with his back to goal, looking just to guide it into the bottom corner.
It'll be Victor Vasquez with the free kick. And it's thumped goalwards. Johnson was alert and able just to tip it away. Chicharito is always alert in those sort of positions.
Really good connection, wasn't it? It's really nicely, powers it towards Sean Johnson's goal.
Alvarez, and that's a good ball. And Raveloson can't find the finish.
Just about getting the ball down under his spell quicker than he needs to. Just sits up that fraction too much, hence the fact the ball goes sailing harmlessly over the bar.
Comfortable headed clearance by Shano, but it will come again. This is Edwards. Isn't a way through that time for Klestin. Edwards again. Chicharito, oh, beautifully done! Wonderful goal! Chicharito must surely have won it in the last minute of the 90.
My word, that has blown the roof off this stadium. It seemed relatively messy, didn't it, in the build-up? Then when the ball does find itself at the feet of Chicharito, he dominates that situation. It's beyond Sean Johnson in a flash.
Maxi Morales will ping it forward, it's awkward. It's out by Koulibaly, Keaton Parks will find Hebert! And he can't quite find the finish.
Therein lies the difference in what we've seen today. Chicharito in a very similar position in the opposition box, took his time. Hebert, don't know whether he realises how much time he has.
It is a statement success on opening day for the LA Galaxy. It's the 5-time champions that beat the reigning champions. LA Galaxy 1, New York City FC 0 on opening weekend.
Yeah, I was very happy, but as well I want to give so much credit to Raheem, because the way to see that goal, the pass that he did, he's a left back, guys, and he did a pass of a number 10. My goal helped the team, but my goal wasn't like everything. You know, we need to consider all the effort of my team.
Elsewhere in the City of Angels, a new guardian of LAFC. Steve Cherundolo replaced Bob Bradley in the off-season and has plenty of talent at his disposal. Right at the top of that list is Carlos Vela, who found the Colorado Rapids keeper William Yarborough on top of him in an instant when the first big chance came his way. But an even greater opportunity would soon follow. Kellen Acosta's lifted cross struck the arm of Lalas Abubakar inside the box. And there was only one man who was going to seize the responsibility of making it count.
Carlos Vela from the penalty spot. Yes, it's 1-0. 29 minutes into the match and it's LAFC on top.
6 minutes later, the Mexican had another. Jose Cifuentes' dogged work and fine vision is definitely worth noting, though it was Vela courting the headlines on the opening weekend. Injuries had been a huge problem for Vela. He'd only scored 9 MLS goals since the record 34 he plundered in 2019. If this was anything to go by, though, he could be back to his very best.
Vela! Golazo from Carlos Vela!
The last Vela hat-trick more than 2 years ago against the Rapids.
Staying in California, the San Jose Earthquakes paid a heavy price for conceding possession cheaply in first-half stoppage time against the New York Red Bulls. Instantly outnumbered at the back, it was easy for Lewis Morgan to find Patrick Klimala. The visitors were good value for their lead, but midway through the second half faced the threat of a Christian Espinosa free kick, flicked in by Chofis to offer the home side the short-lived prospect of a share of the points. While the Red Bulls coach Gerhard Struber had been busy playing down expectations on his young squad, the team dominated their season opener and were back in front within 3 minutes. Omir Fernandez firing through the legs of JT Marcinkowski, an embarrassing moment for the goalkeeper, who initially appeared to have all angles covered. Marcinkowski's counterpart Carlos Coronel needed to make just one save all game. The Quakes keeper was much more exposed. And in time added on at the end of the match, the Red Bulls underlined their control of the contest. Fed by Caden Clark, Tom Barlow delivered the final blow to complete his team's excellent start to the campaign.
Season number 2 for Austin FC, and a goal within 2 minutes against FC Cincinnati. Cecilio Dominguez at the back of the pack to get those in green immediately grinning after a difficult 2021. There were only 3 worse teams than Austin in MLS last year, and one of them was Cincinnati. In fact, they were the poorest of the lot by a distance. The scruffy but successful finish from Alex Ring, an indication that their luck hasn't changed just yet. We've seen enough of Austin's attacking capabilities to know that they can be a danger to many, and boy did they get it right for their third just before the break.
Sebastian Driussi! It gets better and better for Austin FC in this first half of the season.
And it was getting worse and worse for the visitors.
Driussi's through, and Cecilio Dominguez! 4-0 Austin FC.
This was Pat Noonan's first game in charge of Cincinnati. Luciano Acosta the closest to giving Jim Curtin's former assistant at least a morsel of encouragement. But with seconds of stoppage time remaining, Moussa Jite's endless energy was rewarded with an unfortunate final touch of goalkeeper Alec Khan. This was the first time Austin had ever scored 5 goals in MLS.
Further north in Texas, Paul Arriola's FC Dallas debut got off to a terrific start, supplying the cross for Hader Obrian to open the scoring against Toronto just 9 minutes in. The assistant's flag threw some uncertainty into the celebrations, but after video review, the goal stood. Very tight, but Arriola had timed his run to perfection. No offside. A $2 million arrival from DC United, the US international was in the thick of the action again before Jesus Ferreira appeared to increase the home side's advantage. This time, though, the new signing had moved a fraction too early, and Ferreira's effort was ruled out. Instead, by half-time, the scores were level. As the break beckoned, Jonathan Osorio broke free at the far post to tuck away the equaliser, ensuring Toronto's new coach Bob Bradley would be in a much better mood when his players made it back to the dressing room. He can look forward to Italian star Lorenzo Insigne's arrival in July, one of the most hotly anticipated moves in MLS history. In the meantime, the likes of Alejandro Pozuelo will continue to provide the creative focus. The Spaniard's tumble was the main talking point of the second half, with Jose Martinez protesting his innocence. A second look deemed the defender's objections to be valid. The referee's initial decision to award a penalty overturned, meaning FC Dallas coach Nico Estevez and Bradley would both put a point on the board in their first game in charge.
A third game in the Lone Star State, and two teams in Houston and Real Salt Lake who are in the depths of transition. The Dynamo brought in goalkeeper Steve Clark from the Timbers, who denied Michael Chang in the second half. And they have a new coach too, in former two-time MLS Cup winner Paulo Nagamura. He almost played a perfect hand. Darwin Quintero, highly unfortunate not to be the host super sub. The bar hasn't been set that high for Houston after a difficult 2021, but this is an encouraging start.
3 days after putting 5 goals past Honduran club Motagua in the CONCACAF Champions League, the Seattle Sounders' reshuffled side found Nashville's stiffer opposition. Leo Chu whistled a shot just over the bar as the home players tried to whip up a late push for victory, only for Nashville to launch the next attack. Teal Bunbury tested Stefan Fry before Seattle made a meal of clearing their lines, and Randall Leal seized the chance to pick out the unmarked Anibal Godoy. Having switched from the Eastern Conference, Nashville's win was an early sign they can make a real impact in the West. To Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where big spending Atlanta United opened their season with a cross-conference visit from Sporting Kansas City. Watching this one, Chris Wise.
One by Ndembe. Here is Shallowy. On to Ndembe, who has kept on moving and then is smashed into by Ozzy Alonso. Well, on his debut, making an impact, but on Ndembe's legs. And by Remy Volta, missed by Guzan, and off the line from Fontas was George Campbell, who was in the right place to deny a defender from the other team. Nobody picking up Fontas. I don't think his shot is going in, though. Misplaced by Russell. Picked up by Wolf. It's Araujo, it's brilliant. Atlanta's first goal of 2022. And didn't the Brazilian take it well? That little touch as well from Martinez is exquisite. It is a lovely finish. But in a bit of trouble. Shelton now has it for SKC. Has options either side. Here's Volta, didn't quite get the bend on it. Just the one goal last season for Remy Volta, trying to whip it away from Guzan. Martinez on for Dom Dwyer. He's now isolated with Fontas. He's got away from Fontas as well. It's Dom Dwyer. It's 2-0 to Atlanta. Debut drama, Dwyer, and against the club he once won MLS Cup with. A first goal in MLS in almost 2.5 years for Dom Dwyer. You just sense both teams will feel that they can offer more in 2022 than they did in 2021. Here is Hernandez and Martinez. It is a corner. It is a vital touch off the outstretched leg of Isimat Marin. Martinez just held his run. It's an important interception. Matheus Rossetto. See the run of Lennon. And Dwyer! And just wide of the post. Got there before the goalkeeper as well, Dom Dwyer. Just wonder whether the keeper just does enough, Melia. Dembe. Shelton making a bit of room. Collected off Hernandez, and Shelton's going to happily let it go behind. It's an SKC corner. 2 goals needed in 5 minutes for Peter Vermees' side. Delivered in, flicked on, there's Shallowy, it is 2-1. Hasn't lost that goal-scoring art. Daniel Shallowy waiting at the far post. SKC have got a sniff, you know. Daniel Shallowy, the man who's down for SKC and still down as well. Atlanta have got it back. Moreno, and through for Caleb Wiley. And the 17-year-old scores. And wins the game for Atlanta for sure. On his debut, and the veteran Graham Zusi, more than twice his age, just couldn't stay with him. A day for the old and the new. Atlanta 3, SKC 1.
We are happy about the result and the performance as well. I think, I mean, nothing to do with the amount of absences we had. I think we go game by game, and today was a very good standard for the players that started the game, and then the subs. I'm happy with expected goals number. We almost double theirs, and I think that's always the objective: create more and better chances than the opponent.
Last year, the Vancouver Whitecaps lost just once on the road in the regular season from June onwards. A run of 12 matches, though there were 9 draws in that spell. The huge deflection that carried Miguel Berry's shot past Thomas Hassel was the first sign this trip to the Columbus Crew would turn out to be very different. The home side were helped by an impressive debut from Yao Yeboah.
What a pass for Etienne, what a touch, what a goal!
Derek Etienne on the end of the Ghanaian's incisive delivery to double the Crew's advantage. After the break, Yeboah was involved in another key moment, determined to stay on his feet despite the shove from Jake Nowinski that allowed the defender to win the race. The referee had spotted the infringement, so Nowinski, already booked, was about to collect his second caution and sit out the remaining 37 minutes back in the dressing room. 2 goals to the good, and with an extra man, Columbus were keen to press home the advantage. From Yeboah's pass, Arthur Touquet. And could hardly have gone closer to a third. Caleb Porter's team were forced to wait until the final 6 minutes before they had more to celebrate, with substitute Gyasi Zardes causing chaos.
It's Diaz! And a done deal!
And 2 minutes after Luis Diaz equalled his goal tally for the whole of 2021, the Crew matched their biggest winning margin of last season. Etienne's footwork dazzled the tired Vancouver defence before Lucas Celerayán took up the attack to make the final score a thumping 4-0 in the home club's favour.
It was 11 weeks and 1 day since the Portland Timbers MLS Cup dreams were cruelly dashed here, and the first game since was against a team that did win silverware in 2021. New England had standing goalkeeper Earl Edwards Jr. to thank for a huge early save on his league debut for the club. But last year's Supporters' Shield winners have kept the core of their team, and a regular rose above the rest to score before half-time. Brandon Bai reminding all of the Revs' capabilities. Gio Savarese is into his 5th season as Timbers coach, and he's determined to prove his team can make that final step towards success. The sight of Dairon Asprilla scoring will have been a welcome one after providing an important role to the team last year. But parity prevailed for just 3 minutes at Providence Park. One of the Revolution's new recruits, Sebastian Lletget, embraced the moment by scoring on his debut. The storyline appeared as though it would be his, but there was a late Timbers twist to this tale.
Vanarenkin's cross, Niazgoda couldn't get to it. How about the overhead for a tying goal by Jimmy Chara?
Charlotte FC's introduction to MLS took them to Audi Field, where the expansion team had the ball in the net after 19 minutes. Argentinian Titi Ortiz was understandably ecstatic, even though the final touch came off DC United's Steven Birnbaum. The defender was spared an own goal by video review, which showed Ortiz had strayed offside. Encouragement for Charlotte's Miguel Angel Ramirez, at 37, the youngest head coach in MLS, who declared himself proud of his side's performance. The contest, though, turned in DC's favour when Griffin Yal's effort was blocked by Brant Bronico. Referee Victor Rivas pointed to the spot, a handball verdict that infuriated the visitors and gave Michael Estrada a chance to open his account in his very first MLS appearance. The Ecuadorian off the mark after failing to score in 15 appearances for Mexican club Deportivo Toluca last season. He seemed to be enjoying the fresh start.
But Estrada, the shot, takes a ricochet into the net! Oh, it's in the net! Oh, welcome to DC.
That dastardly deflection was rough on Charlotte and typical of their luck. After the break, Christian Kalina's punch rebounded off Ola Kamara to leave the result beyond doubt and put the DC substitute on the score sheet with his very first touch. The new side, though, gave a good account of themselves, and against his old club, Jordi Reyna was determined to provide some consolation. No joy, just a wry smile. It was definitely DC's night.
Orlando City and CF Montreal began 2022 in the same manner they finished the regular season in 2021, by playing each other. Oscar Pereira's team were 2-0 winners in November, but almost one down to Ramel Kyoto in Florida. The Sunshine State has been a rather dark place for Alexander Pato since his move to the Lions last year, but all the injuries were a distant memory as the Brazilian finally scored his first goal in MLS. He perhaps should have had an assist to his name too on his first league start since last April. Debutant Cesar Araujo unable to top up the feel-good factor. But moments later, the lead was extended by Benji Michel. Orlando was set to maintain their record of having never been beaten in a season opener. And a game that had already been infused with drama was in line for a bit more. Kyoto and Antonio Carlos initially clashed. Robin Janssen stepped in and Kyoto didn't like it. An aggressive fist pump into the Swede's chest saw Kyoto dismissed and Janssen booked for his part. And that proved to be a costly yellow for the Orlando centre-half too, as he was then cautioned again inside the final 10 minutes for body-checking Joaquin Torres. No time for Montreal to muster a response though. Orlando up and running at Exploria Stadium.
Orlando's Florida rivals Inter Miami had a great chance to open the scoring against the Chicago Fire, but Leonardo Campana couldn't make the most of Gonzalo Higuain's tempting cross. The Fire's new big-name Xherdan Shaqiri made his debut after Stanislav Ivanov hit the post. Damian Lowe's quick reaction foiled the Swiss star, leaving Ezra Hendrickson frustrated in his first game in charge. Later, Miami's DeAndre Yedlin went flying, which suggested the deadlock would be broken by a penalty. Instead, he was booked for simulation after video review as the game finished goalless.
The final game in our roundup was also the very first one of the 2022 season in MLS. Subaru Park, a potentially testing location for Minnesota United, though Robin Lurd made light work of that theory. It was 1-1 with 10 minutes of the first half still to play though. Corey Burke stooped to score his first goal for the Philadelphia Union in 8 months. Kervin Arriaga nearly had one on his Loons debut, but two teams that proved inseparable in the season's opener.
Philadelphia then are one of 5 sides in the Eastern Conference who began the season with a draw. Another 5 managed to claim all 3 points. Columbus head the fledgling standings courtesy of their 4-0 victory against Vancouver.
A 5-goal thumping of Cincinnati places Austin FC at the top of the West. Both LA teams recorded opening day wins, and Nashville were also victorious on their first showing since moving over from the East.
We leave you with the first goal of 2022.
Dropping it back, quick shot, Robin Lund.
The first hat-trick of 2022.
Yes, it's 1-0. Vela, yes. Vela.
and a first dent in NYCFC's title defence.
Lift off on every weekend for the Galaxy.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.